Hello, this is Sashiko live streaming on February 24th. I guess it's 24th. This is Atsushi. This is the Sashiko live in English. I will talk about some of the reviews from QuiltCon 2020. It was an amazing event. Thank you so much for the MQG to have that event. That was a privilege. That was an honor to be there. Again, that was the incredible event. If you have not been to the QuiltCon, please. That's the best thing I've ever done in 2020 so far. So it would be very nice to be there next year. And I will talk about tradition and modern today. I will talk about what is tradition and what is modern a little bit later on while I'm doing some stitching. And what else? I don't have any script. I do not have any script when I do the live streaming. I do not edit any of those live streaming, so you'll see me stitching and then talking out of my brain. So no editing, no nothing. At the same time, I will answer the questions if you have any. I will talk about what I learned from the QuiltCon 2020. That was the great event, and I cannot say good thing about. I cannot say more. How can I say? I cannot have any negative things for that. All right, let's start. I hope you enjoyed that. So Sashiko, life, modern, and tradition. Hello. All right. Where is my stuff? So before the QuiltCon 2020, I was not very familiar with the quilting itself, and I did not want to speak out of my opinions or understanding without knowing what it actually means. So some of the quilting requires the 3 layers or 3 or more layers, surface, bedding, and then backing, correct? And in the definition of modern quilting, it can be 2 layers, but it has to be back fabric. So what I want to share today is not about what is modern and what is not. I'm not talking about the definition of modern or tradition. What I'd like to talk about is here. The concept of and. The message I learned from the QuiltCon is that the modern and tradition can coexist together. It can exist together. So it doesn't have to be modern versus tradition. It's same thing goes to Sashiko. Some of the people think that Sashiko's tradition is indigo and white. It is indigo and white, and there's a reason, there's a stories behind it why it became the tradition. At the same time, it doesn't mean that I will be offended. It does not mean that I will be offended if somebody does non-traditional sashiko and call sashiko. It can be any color, any patterns, any designs, anything. I will not be offended. Don't worry about it. I am pretty sensitive of those people who does not try to know, who do not try to understand what the sashiko is for Japanese people. But unless you try to learn, unless you try. It doesn't have to be master. It doesn't have to be knowledgeable. As long as they try to learn, I am happy with it. Those people who try to read what I write, those people who try to listen, those people who try to take my workshop, those are the people I define future. I'm the past. I'm the past of Sashiko. I'm very conservative. My preference is very traditional things. However, it doesn't mean that tradition is always the answer. I want you to be the future, and you are the future, as long as they try to understand Sashiko, and then I'm happy to be the past who try to represent the origin. So it is not, again, modern versus tradition or future versus past. It is simply, everything is on the same line. It's not something it should be fight each other. It should be on the same line. It is on the same line, and I want to just make sure that I am here to represent the past, and any future I hope they will respect the origin or tradition. Why do I stitch on the wrong size of jeans? Please come to my website, Upcycle Stitches, and there should be an article about it. There's few reasons that I stitch from the backside. I think I wrote that article. I'm sure that I wrote that on the Patreon, but I think I wrote that on the website as well. Thank you. So I will not do something, I don't know. That leads to the kind of the post that I made, the post I made last night. I finally got the little bit of kind of aha moment why I am so feeling very uncomfortable when I call myself artist. Anybody can call me artist, and I humbly accept the admiration, and I'm happy that somebody called me artist. Although I don't know what artist is yet. I could not really call myself an artist for a long time. It was just very weird. It was very, very weird for me to call myself artist. Although many people call me that artist, and I should be calling myself artist. I really couldn't why? For last 3 years, last 3 years, since I started teaching Sashiko in the US, I just cannot be not happy. I cannot be comfortable with the way I call myself artist. So, I did not know why, and I think this QuiltCon told me why. The quilt I saw in the QuiltCon 2020 had a lot of messages in the quilt, the piece itself. I thought that was a very artistic, those are the piece of art. Some of them were advocating the political. I'm not really good at talking about this in English. Some of them were message to the political messages. Some of them were equality. Some of them were the concept, social problems, sustainability, blah blah blah. There's a lot of topics to discuss. The quiltings were made for those messages. That was the media. That was the method to deliver the message of the quilters. In that case, I would call the quilters an artist. That was very inspirational. That was very beautiful, and I thought those were very beautiful art. Me, on the other hand, do I think about any political message when I stitch this? Do I think about sustainability when I stitch this? Nope. Unfortunately not. Not even unfortunately. I really don't. So, when I stitch this, what I'm thinking is absolutely nothing. I just simply enjoy the rhythm of stitching, and it's like a meditation. There's no what is for. Like, I'm just stitching so that I can relax, I can enjoy the process, I can enjoy the result is awesome. Result of this denim have a lot of pattern will be awesome, and that's gonna be beautiful. But I at the same time feel a little sad when this project is done, because I have to find something else to stitch on. So that's how I kind of practice Sashiko. I really think that the beauty of Sashiko is in the process. So as you can tell, I can stitch and I can talk simultaneously, and this is very, very, very meditative. So I might in the future make some of the Sashiko with the messages, like can be political messages, can be equality, some might be cultural appropriation, blah blah blah. Any messages might be a possibility of my future art, future Sashiko. Then I can call that Sashiko as an art. Then I might be able to call myself an artist when that comes to that point. But my Sashiko is just the practice, ordinary practice of you everyday stitch. That's why it was very weird. It was very weird to call myself an artist. I hope it makes sense. It made sense to me very, very much, and I'm so happy that it made sense. I'm very happy somebody called me Sashiko, the artist. But no, please, no. さくらちゃんごめんなさい。さくらごめん。ちょっとさくらマジでごめん。And anybody can call their stitching Sashiko. I keep saying this. Please don't be scared of calling you stitching Sashiko. I'm not gonna be offended. I'm not gonna attack you just because you're calling it stitching Sashiko. However, I think it's really it is very reasonable to ask to try to understand the story of Sashiko behind the word. It shouldn't be like anything, right? It should not be like, Sashiko is just a word, so we can use that word for anything. Then I might be a little bit, what? No, there's a culture behind that word. And since Sashiko is the stitching process to enjoy, which I just right now explained, if somebody used Sashiko as the word for the art, I want them to understand how I would feel about a process, Sashiko as a process. If they know about my feeling about Sashiko and process, then of course it's up to them to call this art, their stitching Sashiko as art or not. It's just the matter of attitude, matter of the presentation, matter of the behaviors. It's not about what, it's about who. It's not about how to stitch. It's about how to try to understand the culture. And I think it's reasonable to be sensitive like that. I was born in the family. I'm stitching Sashiko for a long time, so yeah. Yeah, like my only concern is that either he or she who is enjoying Sashiko with the name of Sashiko, try. Like again, doesn't have to be master or doesn't have to be fluent in that culture. Just try to understand Sashiko. Hello, hello, hola. Thank you for the comment. I find more comfortable calling my work Sashiko if I do the traditional patterns like Asanofa. Sure. That is probably true. But at the same times, again, it doesn't matter what kind of pattern you're working on. I don't mind. It's not about the result. It's about the, how can I say? It's about the process. So I hope everybody can find their comfortable zone, comfortable place. But my point is that even if one is stitching asanoha, the Japanese geometric pattern, which is traditional pattern, even if they're stitching that specific pattern, if they decided to ignore the original stories or like those cultures, Japanese cultures of Sashiko, then I wouldn't be happy about that. So what to stitch is secondary in comparison to how you would try to understand the Japaneseness. I'm not talking about my Sashiko. I'm talking about Japanese culture behind that. I've been asking my friends in Japan who practice Sashiko if they think about themselves as the artist or not. None of them said that they're artist. None of them. Like 0%. Again, my friends. I don't know the others who practice Sashiko in Japan yet. But that explains that the Japanese culture itself is the reason I feel myself as a non-artist. So it is more like a Japanese culture, not only the Sashiko I'm explaining or I'm practicing. I want them to try to understand the Japaneseness, Japanese culture, Japanese mindset, Japanese philosophy behind Sashiko. So that then culture will be the same as today. I hope it makes sense. I hope really it makes sense. So what to stitch is also important, but more importantly, how to how to understand this culture is more important in my opinion. I hope it makes sense. It's kind of difficult to explain, but so this is kind of ultimate things, but some people ask me if I have a certification to teach. Like after the workshop, after taking my several workshops, and they said that, is there any certification that they can get to teach Sashiko in the way I teach? Well, I can probably make another workshop to teach you how to teach Sashiko. I mean, teach them how to teach Sashiko. Because learning Sashiko and teaching Sashiko is a little bit different topic. I spend a lot of time on building more like a, know-how of how to teach Sashiko. So yes, there is actually probably a structured information to share how to teach Sashiko. But I do not have the certification because it is free. It is very much up to you to share what you learned from Sashiko workshop or online class or videos. Please share. Don't worry about me. My goal is not to make an empire. I don't want to make an empire, everybody worship me or something. I don't want that. What I want is pretty simple. I want everybody to understand what Sashiko is. Sakura, that's not good, please. Sakura is my cat. Sakura, that was very scary. I mean, I have a preference. I have a preference that I hope you would use my thread because I think that's the best thread I can think of, and then that's gonna help you to enjoy Sashiko more. But if you learn Sashiko from me, please feel free to share the tips, my stories, my techniques to anybody. That's my goal. to have the, I believe that I'm practicing Sashiko the way the Japanese people did in a few hundred years ago. I believe. I don't know. Because I cannot meet them in 2020. I don't think I can meet the people who lived in 18 centuries in Japan right now. I don't think I can travel that much. But I just want to pass down. That's why I keep saying, I am the past, you're the future, and I hope the future will appreciate what the past did. I make my quilts in the flow state. I feel there's a distinct fingerprint after like a vibration. Yes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, although I said that the quilt, I saw a lot of quilt with messages on the QuiltCon 2020, I'm not saying that all of the quilt has messages. I think that quilting also has the very similar origin of Sashiko, like feeling, appreciating the fabric, appreciating the fabric, recycling the fabric, stitching as the just a second, okay, stitching as the ordinary practice. Probably there's a quilting which is not the form of delivering messages. It is perfectly good. I mean, both of them are good. I'm not distinguishing which is better, which is not good. But as long as I know, the modern can exist because of the tradition. If everything is like whatever, they don't have to say even modern. That's why I loved so much about the modern quilt, the QuiltCon, because it has a very vivid messages that this is who we are. I probably should make a modern Sashiko quilt or something. That's a joke, but that was a very good experience to be there and enjoy those beautiful, beautiful quilt. I enjoy talking with the quilters, many talented quilters. And I wish Sashiko will get the recognition one day like that much. But yeah, for me, Sashiko is the process, which can be like a meditation. Thank you so much for the comment. But some people might do Sashiko for the purpose of meditation. It is perfectly fine. Go ahead. But for me, it's more like a result. I do Sashiko and then it becomes like a meditation. It's like which comes first, so. It is a mindful stitching if they can get rhythm. So, but if they focus on the meditation itself might be better than stitching, because stitching can sometimes have the judgment within themselves. So that was a very, very, very beneficial time in Austin, Texas, to be part of that QuiltCon. It's not me. This is something I felt this QuiltCon as well. I think it's not me who passed down the Sashiko. I'm just in between guy. There are a lot of futures who probably appreciate Sashiko and they will implement Sashiko to their own field. If I could be part of that movement, if I could represent myself as the past of Sashiko, then Sashiko will be passed down to the next generation. If I keep insisting that Sashiko is this, therefore everybody must follow, then Sashiko will not be chosen to be passed down. Does it make sense? I don't think it should be like that. And I'm okay to be past because, I'm not saying the past is bad. I'm saying that past is something we kind of have to, think back. Again, I met a lot of futures in this QuiltCon. And I wanted to say this word. I think I wanted to say this every time I had a workshop in New York, in New Jersey. I wanted to say that, even like online, I wanted to say that I am the past and you're the future. But I finally could come up with that phrase when I was in that QuiltCon. So it was very good experience. Now I'm back to the ordinary, so I have to, not I have to, I will stitch as ordinary. Let's see. That's a lot of talking. I hope it makes sense. I mean, it's just a word, so again, the word is not good enough to explain everything what I do. I hope you will see the pictures and my stitching movement and stuff like that, but it was like a nice aha moment. Yes, for the loops that I'm leaving, please check the website upcyclestitches.com, and then you can Google the article by searching why loops. I have a good article explaining why I leave a loop. Perhaps you are the past, the present, and the future. Thank you so much for saying that. Yes, to be honest, I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about that in the QuiltCon, in the hotel. That's why I couldn't sleep that much. After the workshop, in the plane, up till now, I'm even probably thinking right now, either I'm the present and I can be a future as well. But as of now, I think I am the past because of my experience, I think. It is not easy for me to be outside of the box. It is very weird for me to be outside of the box. And if I call myself as the future of Sashiko, then I probably pressure myself to be somebody else. Just a second, okay, I'm sorry, I lost my stitch. So I think I am comfortable now to be the past, and then future is somebody who can use Sashiko in the next different level. Level doesn't mean the better or worse, it's just different field. Doesn't matter how old we are, it's not about age. It's not about the generation issue. I'm not talking about those like who is practicing Sashiko in 20s will be the future. No, it doesn't matter how old the person is. More like how can I say, how flexible they are to implement Sashiko's technique or Sashiko's mindset to the existing professions each people have. For that perspective, my mother Keiko is the future. Although, it's kind of weird to call my mother the future and myself a child as the past. But my mother is a future, and that's why I sometimes consider her as an artist. She does not put any messages in her work. She also just enjoys Sashiko stitching. But what she add to the piece, Sashiko pieces, is more like a hope or wishes. And sometimes, although she does not realize that she's putting any messages in it, she sometimes end up with putting it, and people will start feeling that's the message. That's why I sometimes feel that I can call her an artist. Some of the pieces she makes is very, very artistic, and I think that can be explained by those the wishes she added to the pieces. Do I add the wishes to the pieces? I sometimes do, but I mainly enjoy the stitching as a process. So again, it's just my issues. I mean, I'm twisted. My brain's kind of damaged. Not damaged. I'm really conservative. So thank you so much for saying that. It's very flattering that you consider me as the present and future as well. But as of now, I feel I'm the. And it's okay. It's okay to be the past. Somebody got explaining what the past is, and I'm really, really okay with that. But I met many, many people who enjoy the Sashiko workshop, and those are the future of Sashiko. Look at their stitching. If you have anybody who took my workshop by me, from the QuiltCon or even previous workshop, their stitching is as good as mine. As good as mine. Many people come to the workshop with fearing, oh my god, I cannot make that even stitches. I cannot do that. At the end of the workshop, they start saying, well, Tsushi can do it, but I can do it as well. That's the rhythm I'm talking about. That's the rhythm, it's not difficult. It looks difficult, but it's not difficult at all. Sakura is very much upset with me that I left her for 4 days. She is very upset. She might be coming back, but she's here and there. I don't want to do this stitching anymore. Although I said that I enjoy the Sashiko stitching as a process, the only things I don't like is the overlay stitching that I'm doing. So I'll just move to something else. I'm a little bit tired of this overlay stitching. The overlay stitching is so not fun. Let's do something fun. It's so nice to not worry about cosplay. So yeah, overall, it was a very, very, very good experience, very, very good event, and 5 stars for the QuiltCon, 5 stars for the Modern Quilt Guild. Everything was fantastic. The person who took care of the faculty, like me, is more I don't know the person who is more productive than she is. I still can't believe she handled everything by herself. I mean, of course with the staff, but she was she was in charge of that. So I cannot believe how well she managed it. I usually do not. It's my issue. It's really my issue. But I really sometimes, I really don't trust those promises. So I become very extra careful, in case. Let's say if I use the shipping company to make a shipment to the QuiltCon, I sometimes think of the worst case scenario if there's an accident that a package is not there. So I always prepare for the worst case scenario, but this time there was no single case that I had to worry about those things. In fact, I had to worry about everything went so smooth that my luggage to come home was going to be a little bit overweight. I did not expect that. So it was a simply amazing experience. I wish somebody could manage me like that. all the time. I usually do the workshop for myself with getting help from my friends. But I do the management, I do the admin, I do the advertisement, I do pretty much everything on top of teaching. This time I could focus on teaching, and that was so amazing. It was so fun. So if you have not been to QuiltCon, next year is in Atlanta, I believe it's in Atlanta, and after that it's gonna be Phoenix in Arizona. It is really good event. A lot of information, a lot of people, a lot of good energies, many beautiful quilts, good workshops. That's what I've heard. I didn't take any workshops because I was teaching, but that was a very good experience. I hope I can go there next year again. As of now, it's unknown. By the way, I don't leave a loop when I do the... I told you so, Elena. It is so addictive. That's what I'm saying, like it's a process. You cannot stop it. Please do not start Sashiko at 11 p.m. It's gonna be a horrible day next day because you'll probably keep saying like, well, one more stitch, one more line, one more thread, one more, and it's gonna be morning. It's like a time eater. And you don't realize it. It's the best thing you can do in the airport. Which I couldn't do because of the scissors this time. So just stitching, like, it's just a process. I'm not that, there's no sophisticated message in this denim. Like, I care the environment, I care our future of the earth, I care about the politics, I care about coronavirus, I care about everything. But I'm not that sophisticated to add those messages in the work. I just simply enjoy myself doing that. So it's kind of selfish for that matter. I can be pretty selfish for that matter, I simply enjoy what I do. And I want to share this addictive part of Sashiko. The biggest question is, how can I make my stitches so even? And then the answer is, don't try. Don't try to make it so even, then it's gonna be even. It doesn't probably make sense, but it makes sense after the workshop because... Well, I couldn't really feel right after the workshop this time in the QuiltCon in Austin, but I think, come to think about the workshop like twice, I think that was a great success because toward the end of the workshop, they didn't listen to my stories much. I mean, I had to say, please listen, like they kept talking. The question is, they were stitching as well. So in the 6 hours of workshop, including 2 hours lunch break, they learned how to stitch while talking like this. When we talk, we don't really focus on the result. We stitch on talking and listening. So if it was kind of loud, sometimes it was pretty loud. I mean, people kept talking each other, which is perfectly fine, unless it is I'm sharing important opinions or not important information. So I think many people enjoy that workshop. It really, thank you so much, Elena. Yes, so in-person workshop is great because they can touch what I make in person, but at the same time, coming to New York or QuiltCon can be quite challenging. So I offer the online workshop, and then I believe that I can deliver the similar or even like exact experience. Besides that, you can touch what I'm doing, not. So it's very helpful for you to even speak. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like it's like a magic, yeah. Many people got into this whole like people kept stitching, and that's why you're the future. You are the future. The reason I keep saying that you are the future is that, everybody has their own history. Everybody has their own past. So it is very natural for anybody to combine what they learned today to the past they have. We call that future, right? So I really do not intake new skill, new culture much because I'm focusing on sharing what I have. One day, if I have a chance to install something new, then I probably can be another future. But as of now, they are the future. And I'm so happy that I can be part of it. It's really fun to not to be judgmental to myself. Well, I'm the perfectionist, so I always try to be judgmental to myself, but in Sashiko, not really. I try not to be judgmental. See, has been 45 minutes. Can you believe it? 45 minutes since I started live streaming. I'm gonna finish in 15 minutes, but that's how I meant by it's a time eater. Ow. Sorry, that was I touched my nose, which is kind of oily. So. こっちに行くのこっちじゃなかった It is super. Wow, it's 45. That's why I can say I can keep going forever and forever, which I'm gonna do in in June, early June. Probably my father's birthday around, which was the last year's as well. I will do the Sashiko live streaming for 24 hours, or probably more than 24 hours this year. I will probably speak only in Japanese, mainly in Japanese, but I try to have those segments in between the Japanese to speak in English. So if you could join that'd be great. I've done that last year and I will do it again this year as well. 24 hours of Sashiko live streaming. Woohoo! If you want to waste your time for 24 hours, you can watch that previous, last year's archives on YouTube. I mean, I spoke only in Japanese, so I wouldn't recommend you watching that. But if I have nothing to worry about, not dinner, not lunch, not house chore, not nothing, I can keep stitching for a long, long time. Oops. Okay, after this much thread, I will be offline today. Yeah, I gotta eat lunch. Getting hungry. If you have any questions, please leave the comment here, or if you're watching this on the YouTube archive, please leave the comments on the comment section. If it's a good question, if it's not already answered, I will try to answer that as much as I can. If it's answered already, I will probably be able to direct you to the answer, or please try to come to upcyclestitches.com to look for the answers. Or Instagram, this account has a lot of answers as well. And everything else is, well, everything else is what I was not thinking. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. So, this is the last information, but a workshop, I did not get technique, I did not get Sashiko like the workshop I do. Those 3 hours or 6 hours workshop is purely consisted by me based on the experience. Nobody taught me how to do Sashiko stitching. Nobody. Because that's how Japanese craftsmanship is like. They watch and learn over time. Over many, many, many years, they watch and learn. So, for example, sushi chef, they do not have any curriculum to be a sushi chef, traditionally speaking. Right now, there's a sushi school to get sushi certification. But traditionally speaking, in those like a very famous like sushi bars, they don't have any curriculum to be a sushi chef there. They have to be there for like 10 years, 20 years to be a sushi chef. Some of the interesting information is that they don't even allow to be, some of the people doesn't have permission to go into the kitchen for the first 3 years. That's how twisted Japanese culture is. So I did not learn this one from any like curriculum. I was privileged to have many, many artisans around me from my childhood. So you can pretty much watch and learn as well, and that's what I wanted to do. Like, the reason I'm doing this unedited version into live streaming is that this is how one person would learn Sashiko from the others. The reason I offer the workshop is that it could take them to learn Sashiko for years, or they could have to go to the detours because of misunderstanding of what I do. That could be sad. That's why I do the workshop, to give the tip, to give the personal attention, so everybody can be on the same track. But at the same time, just watching it is gonna make you very much different. Like, that's why I keep saying, like, please try to understand what I do. Just watching this will probably give you a lot of idea of what Sashiko is. Sorry, like, I will answer the question. Are you freehand or do you have a pattern? Today I did not prepare the fabric and the pattern, so I'm just following the existing stitch I made. So I started from here and I'm coming back here by just following this previous line I made. That's the best way to learn. Learn this for me. It's the best way to learn this. Yeah, just keep watching. Keep watching. I mean, you know, it would be nice. It would be nice to help me to, you know, make a living one day. But again, that's the secondary. If I need bread tomorrow, I will ask. If I have to eat tomorrow and I don't have that, if I have to feed my daughter tomorrow and if I don't have a place to stay or blah blah blah, I will say that please help me. But at the same time, right now, I somewhat can do that thanks to my wife. So it's the secondary things. So keep watching. Any other questions? Are you doing freehand? This is the freehand, right? And thank you so much for the comment. I'm working while watching you. I enjoy, and that's my goal. That is my goal when I do it in Japanese, and I made that kind of goal accomplished. Sashiko is, or even any kind of hand stitching or hand crafting, can be pretty lonely work to do. right? It can be pretty lonely. If I do it by myself, it's gonna be pretty lonely. And if you don't have anybody around you who does sashiko, you may be alone there. And there's nothing wrong doing it alone. But at the same time, I think the Japanese people back then did it by themselves in their house alone. And sometimes they had a time to share their work together, stitching, and pretty much complaining. I'm sorry to use the bad word. They were probably bitching about something in their life and keep stitching. That's what they probably did. They stitch in the house. They go outside when they have time. They stitch together. They learn each other. And they probably complain about their family and their husband. That's probably how the job. Well, it was not recommended to kind of say their opinion. Like women were not allowed to say their opinions much in Japan back then, but they probably shared those things each other. And I think that's the original, like very much the original image of Sashiko. And that's something I want to recreate: a community, a place to be for whoever who like to Sashiko. So this is the best thing. Like if you could stitch sashiko while listening to or watching this live streaming, that's the place. That's the place. And that's the community I would like to create, and that's the caring community I would like to be. Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense. Did I enjoy QuiltCon, or were you so busy it was one big blur? I enjoyed it so much. I think I said it. Please watch this again. I probably said that that was the last event. I enjoyed it so much of that QuiltCon, and I had the fourth day of the QuiltCon was my first day in the QuiltCon, but I had a few hours of checking all the quilts, reading those messages, stories. I had some delightful meeting to the quilters. It was a very good event. I enjoyed it so much. It was really good. But at the same time, at the same time, I learn a lot by looking at those quilts. What is the difference between quilting and sashiko, and what is the similarity between quilting and sashiko, and what is modern, what is tradition. I will keep sharing those learning on the account as well as the YouTube. I gotta go back to the. I've heard it called bitch and stitch when. Yep. So it was not like complaining, but I believe that the Japanese people were doing this similar. What? Okay, thank you. So it's about 1 hour. Time flies. I have to do house chores today, little bit. So the question was I doing freehand? It was not a freehand. So I did this colorful, this is the yin and yang patterns, but I did the red, the pink, yellow, blue things almost a year ago. And today I was so tired of Asanoha pattern, so I just did this edge white lines today, and I did not even draw the pattern this time. I just followed the existing line here, like here. The white one is different. Okay. First half I was doing the Asanoha, which is here, and I just got tired of it. It looks beautiful, but sometimes it requires some energy, so this one was the things I was doing in the morning. It's all denim, and it's gonna be. Let's see how it's gonna turn out. Let's see how it's gonna turn out. It's my denim. I couldn't make it for the quilt. It happens. Alright, thank you so much for watching the live streaming again. I will come back next Friday at 10:30 Eastern time. Yes. And I will keep posting those those photos with my stories, messages So it'd be great if you could follow me, and if you could comment there, that'd be great. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and have a good Tuesday. Bye bye.